Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to another Nerd Nation stream. I'm here with my friend Ray. How you doing, my son?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. I'm excited to know what you've got me here for.
All right.
The
Now,
MCU gossip.
okay, so I came across this lovely Reddit site here. It's from 4chan. Now, when I think of 4chan, I think of people, doing like circle jet roulette and stuff like that. But not in this particular case. In this particular case, 4chan is offering us some rumors on Phase 4. Some juicy ones. So let's just get to it, shall we?
Yeah, let's dive into this one.
All
I'm
right.
looking
So the
forward
first
to
one,
getting into the meat.
the first one with the up and coming show. Let me just quickly highlight it too. Is Black Widow's been finished since March last year? No shit. No reshoots, no rewrites, nothing new added at all for over the last year. Yep, exactly.
That shit's just been collecting
I'm
dust.
I feel really bad, sorry for this film, and it hasn't even been released yet. Like this film is being released when it shouldn't be because Black Widow's dead. It would have been a smarter release after Civil War, which is when I believe this film is taking place, or it might be after Winter Soldier, or one of those two periods. Um, but yeah, the longer it takes, the less people are interested because this is harkening back. I don't know how much progression we'll get within the MCU from this film as it's a prequel, but the longer this drags out, the worse it's going to get for this movie, in my opinion. Obviously, people are going to watch it, but it's not doing this film any favors. Are you still looking forward to Black Widow, my son?
I am. And I have a slightly different perspective on this whole Black Widow and the delay of this film. And it harks back a little bit to how they handled the Hulk. Hulk
Okay.
had his story arc over three films, and it was thrown into some Avenger films, it was thrown into Thor films, but over that we got to see Hulk develop into a bigger character. And with hindsight, Black Widow has had a similar type of story, but over a longer period of time. From Iron Man 2 all the way through to Endgame, you've seen her progress from a kind of silent assassin who can kind of go into any situation and just become a chameleon and just fit in to the point where she takes over Shield. And so we get to see this really nice long progression, a big story arc. And this film is, I don't think it's going to add anything to that story arc, but what it is going to do is give her that the last big farewell. So we get to see a solo Black Widow movie where she is the lead rather than a kick-ass support character. So I am looking forward to this film, but I don't think it's out of place or it detracts from Black Widow in any way, shape, or
I
form.
just feel like it might be a little bit disjointed, um, bringing this in. Like you're bringing this in a period of time when we should maybe know about some of these characters, but we don't. This will be like the first time they'll be introduced within the MCU, which finds it a bit weird. At the same time,
Hmm.
from what we saw in Endgame, when she sacrificed herself, she did it for her family. But by the looks of
Hmm.
things, she has a family in from what I saw in this trailer. So some of those things irk me a little bit here and there. You know, because I saw a
I
great
tell
character.
you what,
I saw. Sorry, 1 second. I saw a great character arc in her as somebody who just did her job with no emotion to giving up her life at the very end. You know, it was a great arc. She cared for people when before it was just doing a job. She wasn't the bad guy, but she was doing a job. Then she cared for people and she lost her life for it. Anyway, what do you want to say?
uh, I mean, the one thing I think that never gets answered is what the fuck happened in Budapest. I
Yeah.
don't think this is the film that's going to
No, I
answer
think
that
I think it
question.
will. I think
So
it
I
will.
kind of think there's still some more. I don't know. I think there's more. Black Widow story they can pull out in more prequels. It'd be good to see a proper Black Widow origin story.
I think we'll get the
And then
answer.
we could also pull in Jeremy Ryan.
I think we'll get Budapest answered here, but not necessarily. But maybe in a flashback form, because I think this is after Budapest. But I still think we'll get an answer to it at the same time. And maybe that's the closest thing we'll get to the connection of her family as well. You know, it's not like that time in Budapest. You know, he had all these fuckers flying around and shit. Anyways, Ben Kingsley, he's coming back in Shang-Chi as Trevor Slattery. So let me read this properly. Ben Kingsley has a cameo in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Off the Ten Rings. Gotta do it off, not of. Anyway, Wong has a minor... Wong? Oh, Wong has a minor role, and Fin Fang Foom is the villain in the final act. I didn't really want to know. Fin Fang Foom? Oh, are you serious?
It's like FIFO fun. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
But look how everything's written here. Wong, like, so Wong, that's the sorcerer Wong, from Doctor Strange.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, he's gonna be in this.
But that kind of makes sense, considering Ten Rings is all about magic. It's good to have the Doctor.
Actually, I actually 100% agree. If they're gonna go down the magic route, I would like to see maybe one of the sorcerers from that sector. I mean, he's in charge of the Hong Kong sector as well, isn't he? Because you've got 3 sectors. You've got the Hong Kong sector, the London sector, and the New York sector. And if he's in charge of the Hong Kong sector, then that would make sense for him to be involved.
When we meet him in Doctor Strange, isn't he like the master librarian?
Yeah, he's the librarian, but you know, like lots of shit.
Caecilius it's the previous one.
Yeah, but shit happens, you know.
I don't really remember what he was doing before that.
Well, we did have the blip, so maybe the person. It's amazing no one's calling it the snap anymore. Everyone's calling it the blip recently. So we had the blip, and maybe the person who was in charge of Hong Kong got blipped. So and Wong was alive apparently. He's Noob Master 69 when Korg is playing him at Four's place. So. Yeah, no, he is. That's what I think Kevin Feige mentioned that. So he would have been alive during that period, and
that'd be interesting if it was.
So, but the point is that you know there's a good chance that he might have overlooked.
When is it set? This whole Ten Rings stuff.
I think
it's set after.
It's set afterwards because it's set after Iron Man 3 and all of that. It's set modern times, dude. I think it's set current times.
Yeah, but between Iron Man 3 and let's say Infinity War, there's quite a big gap in there.
It's still, I think it's set after all of that. And you have to remember, once again, the blip plays its part. You know, there's 5 years of certain people being alive and certain people not. Did Trevor survive the blip? Did he not survive the blip? Who knows?
Don't forget, the snap is when Thanos actually killed half the universe, and the blip is when they come back. So they're supposed to be representing before and after Thanos.
Well, no. The fans called it the snap because we know about the snapping of the fingers. But within the MCU, they never referred it to the snap. They call it the blip because that's how they call it. You know, it's the same thing.
Okay, I always thought.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's regarding Ben Kingsley. I want to see him come back as Trevor Slattery. I love the character of Trevor Slattery, and I want more of Trevor Slattery. I love seeing Ben Kingsley in this role, you know. And he's one of the few people who says he takes, you know, he's a very serious actor, but he says even with comedy he takes it seriously, and you can see in his performances he wants to be as funny as fuck, and he's being very serious and trying to be as funny as fuck, and I like it, and I want to see more of Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery. He's arguably one of my favorite minor characters within the MCU. And people hated him for it, and I loved him for it. I don't say I love the fact that he wasn't the Mandarin. I wish he actually was, but I still love what he was anyway. I still love that. But I understand people's gripes with the Mandarin, and I'm glad the MCU are trying to resolve that. We'll move on. Harry Styles is Star Fox in Eternals. Now, like we mentioned earlier when we said about Star Fox, I was thinking of the fucking video game. But as well, I used to own Star Fox. It was one of the best games on the N64. Fantastic game. Um,
Me too.
Anyway, Harry Styles is Star Fox in Eternals in a small yet memorable role. Diego Luna, remember Diego Luna? He was in Rogue One. They're going to meet he's Cassian Andor in Rogue One. The guy who kills the messenger dude at the beginning.
Okay.
They're going to make a show about him.
Yeah.
Diego Luna is voicing Crow, whoever that is. My knowledge on the Eternals is nothing. I know nothing about the Eternals. Diego Luna is voicing Crow, Fina's ex-husband. God, look at this guy's way he's writing. Like he wrote
Plant the seed.
Yeah, but he put
several comic Marvel properties.
He shouldn't have put a full stop there. This Will, I thought this was a name, like the name of a person called Will. Why are you putting a full stop there? Anyway, Will plants the seed. So let me pretend there's no full stop there. Let me read this again. Diego Luna is voicing Crow, Fina's ex-husband. Will plant the seeds for several comic Marvel properties. Okay. And I guess people are talking about maybe the X-Men and stuff like that, which is pretty much the Marvel properties people are talking about. Because when it comes to the expanded universe, they're pretty much it. But I don't give a fuck about this. I don't give a fuck about Harry Styles. I'm a generation apart. What about yourself? Do you give a fuck about Harry Styles?
I mean, to be fair, I don't really remember the character or know much about the history when it comes into that side of it. I mean, the only thing I've ever come across in relation to the Eternals is the forgotten TV series that never came to fruition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that was Inhumans.
Ah, true.
That was Inhumans. Yeah, I know. I can understand.
I'm completely mixed up.
Yeah, I understand. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though. So, No Way Home.
Growing up, MCU was the cartoons on Saturday morning with Spider-Man and X-Men and stuff like that.
Yeah, likewise,
and
dude.
Everything that's come out in the cinematic universe.
So, No Way Home, which is Spider-Man No Way Home, is being kept secret, similar to Endgame. In fact, probably more. Toby and Andrew are obviously in the film. Obviously? Okay. I mean, it's funny. Let me tell you something. I've been hearing so much confirmation and non-confirmation that I don't know what to fucking believe anymore. I assumed that fucking Doctor Strange was going to be in the final episode of WandaVision. That never fucking happened. Yeah, so now I don't know what to fucking believe anymore. Because everyone's going on about this fucking Spider-Verse shit. Let me quickly talk about it a little bit more. Sinister Six consists of Kraven, Vulture, Electro, Sandman, Mysterio, and Doc Ock. Some of these characters haven't even been introduced within the MCU. Sandman hasn't. Doc Ock hasn't. Kraven hasn't. We've only got... and Electro hasn't. We've only got Vulture and Mysterio. Out of the 6, we've only got 2. So... I'm a bit concerned here. The Sinister Six is something which would be probably better off as a show than a film. Like, if they did a Spider-Man series, you could really make this work. But in a film for two hours, 6 villains like this, established and all of that, I don't know how you could pull that off. Anyway, this Sinister Six shit is not happening in No Way Home. It's definitely not happening. I can't fucking put my bollocks on it, but it's definitely not happening at No Way Home. It's not happening today. It's not happening in this next movie. That's set up for something else down the line. That's definitely a Sony project for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
But there's not much here we don't already know. Any more you want to say about No Way Home before I move on?
I mean, I can't imagine that Tom Holland knows what's going on in the film, because he's the first one that would be leaking the entire fucking film accidentally. So,
I think they got him on tabs more than ever.
Let's move on.
I think look, Tom Holland being a kid as well, and I think if anything, I think he's wizened up. He's got to be more self-aware than ever. Yeah, especially now making this movie and all the fucking things in the past. I'm sure he's wised up. So, Multiverse of Madness is the scariest MCU film to date. no clear and voodoo villain is being kept secret. I think the villain could be Wanda. Or, by the way, this person, the way that what they're writing here, it makes me want to find this person and beat him up. Because I don't know what the fuck is he writing here. I'm starting to regret a little bit. It's not just that, but I thought this could be a good side. But as I'm progressing and I'm reading what the bullshit that he's written, I'm starting to concern myself. He's like, I mean, is this just like stuff he's got in his mind, which sounds really good that he just put on paper? Multiverse of Madness is scariest MCU film today. This is old news.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. This could be a nice way of setting up Wanda to become a bad guy. If anything, there's going to be a decision that she's got to make, and it's going to be in contrast to what Doctor Strange wants. So we might not see Wanda as the villain come the end of the film, but we could see Wanda turn her back.
I agree.
On the X-Men.
Or the Avengers, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the Avengers.
I agree. Like, she doesn't need them. Like, she's full on Jean Grey Phoenix right now, man. She really is. Anyways, let's move on.
If you look at her story arc.
Yeah.
Go on then.
No, go on, please.
I was going to say, if you look at Wanda's story arc, it's an arc of loss and tragedy.
Oh man, is it? Yeah.
I mean, and what better way of setting her off as a villain would be another form of tragedy and loss to kind of cascade or push her on the way.
I agree. The Grand Master that was played by the wonderful Jeff Goldblum is going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, and Lena Headey will be returning playing the Valkyrie Queen. Not the King, she'll be Queen. That's interesting, because she was given the title as King. But
yeah, she was left in charge of Asgard.
But I guess you can be left in charge as a queen. I'm not surprised. I expect Lena Headey to return.
Actually, hold on. Lena Headey is not who you're thinking. She's not Valkyrie. You're talking about the TV series John Connor, the mum, and in Game of Thrones, the Queen.
That's Lena Headey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Headley with an
Headey, yeah. That's who they're referring to. So she's going to be a queen.
I have to Google this.
Tessa, who is Valkyrie.
Oh yes, Tessa. Yes, yeah.
So if you've got Tessa, who's the king, and Lena, who's the queen, now we've got a same-sex power duo in charge of Asgard here on Earth.
Well, I'm a bit gutted about that, because I heard that that the but her character's called Valkyrie, isn't it? That's her name.
I mean, that's who they refer to her, yeah.
Yeah, so like that character, I heard that she was going to have a relationship with Captain Marvel. That's the rumor I heard. But
let's see what IMDb is saying.
Don't get me wrong, it's really, there's a lot of tie-up, but considering they're both space entities, even though she's settling on Earth, anything's possible. I mean, for Valkyrie to go into space isn't a big issue.
Well, hold on a second. And IMDb, when it comes to 2021 movie listings, it looks like there's a TV series, so they haven't even put Thor: Love and Thunder and the cast in IMDb, so it looks like Marvel's holding on to that one. This might just be a rumour.
Fair enough. Let's move on from this.
To Lena Headey.
So Killmonger is going to be brought back as the new Black Panther. No, this name I might butcher, but unfortunately the way this fucker's been writing, he might have spelt it wrong. But Tenoch Huerta is playing Namor, which is basically the Marvel version of Aquaman. And Denzel Washington is in talks with the role. Don't make Denzel Washington Namor. Are you mad? You know what I mean? Don't make Denzel Washington name more. Um, First of all, Killmonger. I had a theory regarding Killmonger that when the knife was taken out of his body in Black Panther, after T'Challa stabbed him and he beat him, he wanted to see the sunset, and then he wanted the knife removed. But once he removed the knife, the suit closed up, and in my opinion, the suit saved him from dying because it's
Well,
and that's
is there any evidence for this
no 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 no
being self-healing
no
or
not
having
self
better
healing,
properties?
not self healing. Just stop the bleeding because that's why he didn't want to take the knife out, because the moment you took the knife out, the bleeding happened. But if you took the knife out and the suit then closes up,
Yeah, but what about internal bleeding?
look, I'm just trying to
He might not bleed
look.
out,
This is
but
just
he could bleed in.
yeah, but this is science fiction. This is fiction at the end of the day. Yeah, so I'm just trying to make. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to keep it. Trying to make some sense here. So, what he does is that before T'Challa dies, he puts him on ice like Bucky. Yeah, and that's where he is.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can retcon that easily. You can easily retcon that. Yeah, and
Oh yeah.
and then he comes back with new purpose, a new look in life. He's a new Black Panther. Obviously, Shuri should also go be Black Panther too. But if they still want to keep with a male Black Panther for now, before they pass on the mantle to Shuri, then Killmonger would be ideal in that particular aspect. Or if they want to, they could recast. But personally, I would like the idea of life imitating art, and T'Challa also finding out during the course of the Marvel MCU that we find out that T'Challa had passed away from cancer himself. That would be a touching tribute to give, because even though he's a superhero, he could still die from natural causes. You know what I mean?
Come to think of it, now you're speaking about all this stuff,
Hmm.
I'm having a thought, and when T'Challa gets becomes king, and he gets the flower, and he goes and speaks to his dad in the afterlife, it's like how is the MCU going to add T'Challa into that in future films? I mean, is he going to be there only as a visual presence and not someone that they talk to? I mean, if they are going to get someone to talk to him in the afterlife, are they going to have to get someone to do a voiceover? I mean, that's going to make an interesting head fuck.
You make some very valid points, and the fact that if he is going to die, and then it would make sense that people like Shuri and so on are able to contact him in the spirit world. How they pull something like that off, I don't know. I mean, they'll have to do some voice work, and they'll have to find a very good voice artist. But unless they do some sort of deep fake with some mysticism around it, there's no other way of pulling it off. But I don't think that would be right for now. I think the best way to do it is just with voice and without a face. That would be the best way. Like someone imitate the voice but don't do the face. That would be the best way.
I mean, the actor playing T'Challa is he's got a thick New Yorker accent anyway, so he can pull that off, and hopefully there's a good enough voice actor out there who can emulate the emulation.
Yeah, for sure.
Or emulate the actor.
Well, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, in Toy Story, the character is Slinky, which is that dog with the spring body. He's got a spring body. He's got legs at the end, head at the front, Slinky, the actor who does the voice work for Slinky, died before Toy Story 4. They still managed to get a guy who was able to do Slinky's voice pretty much perfectly. So anything's possible. I mean, for Christ's sake, the guy who did Peter Cushing's voice in Rogue One was excellent. For Tarkin, a really good copy of his voice. It's possible. You can find the right people. Anything's possible. It's amazing how many people can do accents and mimic voices. It's a talent, but it's out there. Let's move on. So, talking of Captain Marvel has more of a creative voice than the first. John Boyega is playing Blue Marvel with Clive Owen playing Yon-Rog's brother. Interesting. Okay. Of course, Jude Law's returning now. I remembered when we did our video of MCU villains who are still alive, and one of the ones I found very interesting
Yeah.
was Yon Rog, because he is still alive and he's played by the very popular, very talented Jude Law. You don't just waste a character like that if you haven't killed him off, played by an actor like that. So Yon Rog
Now,
must return, and Clive Owen playing his
just because
brother.
I've got just because I've got a little bit of a memory block, is John Rogue the one that catches Star Lord when he goes for the Infinity
No,
Stone?
Yon Rog is Jude Law's character. Jude
Oh,
Law,
okay, that was his name. Yeah.
Yon
Okay, I'm with
Rog,
you.
yeah, and Clive Owen will play his brother, and
Interesting.
John Boyega playing the Blue Marvel. I'm not familiar with the Blue
Now you have
Marvel.
to tell me. Do you know who the?
I'm
I've
not
never come
familiar
across
at
the Blue
all,
Marvel
but
character.
I know,
What is he doing?
like Wonder Man, but Blue Marvel. No, I'm not so sure. But you know, like would he? This is the thing. Like, this is why I'm very skeptical now. John Boyega worked for Disney, and he ripped Disney apart. Yeah, when he was doing Star Wars, are they willing to rehire him again as the Blue Marvel? Is he willing to go back to them again? You know, even though he's working for Marvel and not
No, but
Star Wars.
this isn't Catherine Kennedy though.
I guess so, but
This
the
isn't
tent
Catherine
is
Kennedy and
large.
her disjointed way of doing a movie.
Okay,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine either of the two Bobs at the head of Disney are going to have any qualms with Marvel
Yeah, but
management getting John Boyega to come in.
it, this doesn't look good on John Boyega if he ends up then fucking putting his tail between his legs and still works for Disney again. Is he willing to do that? Is he? I mean, I wouldn't hold it against him personally. I personally wouldn't hold it against the guy. Needs fucking work. At the same time, I know a lot of people will. I know lots of people will. Um,
But
but
at the same, but with that being said, dude, with that being said, though he's coming back to work for Disney, the guys originally was
allegedly.
contracted for LucasArts, and they're the ones that fucked him over, not Disney.
All right, fair enough. Well, this is allegedly because first of all, as I read through all this shit, I'm finding it harder and harder to believe all this bollocks. But let's progress. Um,
And with that being said, the further in time we go, the more in Crazy Town this might be going because I mean we're looking at 2023, 20 possibly films as far as 2025. This is going to. So yeah, this is deep rumor mill territories now.
so, oh, by the way, Clive Owen playing Yon Rog's brother that'll probably be the older brother by the sounds of things. I haven't seen Clive Owen in a while. Um, and I thought he made it big in
Mm.
America, but it's been a while since I've seen him. He's a bit of a poor
Well, the
man's
last
Jason.
time I saw a film with Clive Owen,
Um, Children of
and Jason Statham.
is it Children of Men?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's
Children
the
of
last time I
Men.
saw him.
I'm
I
sure
don't
he's done
remember
stuff
when
after
that came
that,
out.
but he is a poor man's Jason Statham. But he's done a couple of good action films.
I think
Uh,
he's done a few voiceovers for some adverts.
yeah, he's done loads of that.
That's about it.
So on to the next rumor. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is a very big scale family movie. Bobby Cannavale, who is the uh, the the cop dad of his ex-wife, like the cop boyfriend of his ex-wife. Yeah, Bobby Cannavale, Judy Greer are back
Yeah.
in small roles. I think Judy Greer could be his ex-wife. Set for early 2023. Jesus Christ, I'm really curious to see how what's his face looks in that film because he just doesn't age. I forgot the actor's name escapes me now. The guy plays Scott Lang. The guy who plays Ant-Man. What's the name of the actor? Why is his name
Pass.
why is his name escaping me right now? It pisses me off. But his name just escapes me for the moment. Paul Rudd. There we go.
That's the one, yeah.
This guy doesn't age. I'll be curious to see what he looks like in 3 years. He'll be like 53 by then. Um,
You know
okay,
what?
yeah.
When you say this is when the guy says this is going to be a big scale family movie, I kind of puzzled by that Because when you look at the first Ant-Man, that was a mystery movie. They kind of had to piece the puzzle together to kind of figure out what's going on. And in the second one, it was more of a action adventure type stuff with a bit of mystery thrown in. So is
Bollocks.
Marvel really gonna turn Ant-Man away from its kind
No,
of
it needs this.
mystery style
No.
writing?
It needs this big scale. Ant-Man's been a bit small scale recently. He needs this massive scale now. It really does as an alternative because it needs this. It needs a massive, giant scale, mega event sort of movie, a movie of significance, and I think Quantum Mania is going to be it. I think people forget about Quantum Mania a little bit. I'm putting it in the same sort of category as maybe Multiverse of Madness regarding significance within the MCU. If Kang the Conqueror does come in this, then it's going to be a big deal. He's a massive threat. Hopefully, he won't be a one and done villain. Hopefully, this will be his entrance into the MCU, and we'll see him further down the line. But they need to make this massive. They need to make this a giant, spectacular event. Even if they're always shrinking and shit, it still needs to be massive scale, in my opinion. So it just to differentiate itself from the previous films, which were obviously a smaller scale. Let's move on. Blade. Blade is searching for directors right now. One of the names brought up is Shaka King and Kiki Lane, Janelle Monáe, and Delroy Lindo, who I do know, who's I'm not sure if he's directing this, but he's in talks for supporting roles. Hopefully he won't play Whistler. I don't want him to be Whistler. I love Christopherson's Whistler. He was great. But what would Delroy Lindo play? If he played Whistler and they did him as Whistler, I wouldn't mind, but it'd be different. I guess.
Look at this dude.
Delroy Lindo's been in a lot of stuff, dude.
Okay, yeah, I know the actor.
But
okay.
I wouldn't mind him playing Whistler if they want to be different to the Wesley Snipes' Blade, because look, I've had a lot of arguments with a lot of people, regarding Blade. But for me, the Blade is the grandfather of the Marvel of Marvel films. I don't want to say the MCU, but of Marvel films, Blade is the grandfather because that film kept Marvel comics in the red in the black. Sorry, they kept them in the black because they were in the red before that, and they were going to go. That's why they were selling all their properties, like Spider-Man to Sony and shit like that. They were losing money, and then they made Blade, and it kept them afloat. And then from that alone, from them being kept afloat from Blade, you see what we get now. It's amazing. And you look at Blade and you almost forget that it's Marvel because it's so vulgar, it's so rude, it's so in your face, so grotesque. You can't imagine a Marvel movie doing that shit now. You could never come close to doing that shit now. I'm kind of worried about Blade under Disney, by the way, because the bar is set very high for Blade. Wesley Snipes has created two masterpieces in Blade 1 and Blade 2. Obviously, Blade 3, I want to not talk about.
Blade 3.
Let's not talk about Blade 3, but Blade 1 and Blade 2 are still, like, those films bring a smile to people's faces when you think about them. And the fact that this film is going to have to compete with that, because this is a film which is a Marvel movie, which is not in the MCU, and it's highly, highly regarded, both of them. And I would love to see what they pull off because they've got big shoes to fill, humongous shoes to fill. This could be the first massive bomb, but come to think of it. Because if they can't match the style of what Wesley Snipes did, no one's going to like this shit. People want motherfuckers, people want to see fucking, vampire prostitutes getting their titties cut off with a fucking sword. They want to see all of that shit, yeah? They have to provide that to us. That's what I think of when I think of Blade. We're talking vampires here. This ain't pussy shit. Go on.
I know what you're coming from with the fact that Disney. Reportedly Disney have said that most MCU films have to be PG-13, so that most of the family can watch it. But then the exception to that rule is the Fox side of what they've purchased. Because the rumors are anything that's going to be adult rated, aka Deadpool, then they can have the adult stuff on a Fox part of the Disney Channel. So that the kiddies can watch the fluffy kind of PG-13 films, and the adults still get blood, gore, swearing, and everything you're talking about when it comes to the Blade.
I'll see it when I'll see it when I believe it.
There's avenues available, and yeah, I think when we get Deadpool, I think we'll definitely see what the business model is and how Disney are going to differentiate between the family fun stuff and the adult stuff.
There's just so many things as well, dude. Like Mahershala Ali, I'm not sure if he's a martial artist like Wesley Snipes is. Wesley Snipes is a martial artist. You know, it helps. You know, Jason Statham is a martial artist. These things helps as an actor when you're doing action films. Yeah, that's why there's so much grace when you watch Wesley Snipes doing his action. You know, he's like a ballerina of fighting. He's so beautiful to watch. You know, his choreography. You know,
well, he was a fighter anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not sure
But
about
at the same time,
Mahershala Ali is seems like a theatre actor in comparison. Now he could give a good performance wise. He will probably be a very good Blade, but can he deliver in action scenes? Because I want to see Mahershala Ali do action scenes, not a fucking stuntman with Mahershala Ali's face on it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know, but I mean, think of it this way: once you give him a pair of sunglasses and all the outfit, you ain't gonna tell the difference when it comes to fast-paced action stuff. I mean, I don't see it being too much of a problem. I mean, look at how MCU has handled action so far. I've never really noticed when there's a stunt double coming in to do, to take over from the main actor. I mean, you look at Thor. I mean, have you ever noticed when his stunt double came in to take over on the screen?
But it's a bit different because Thor is so overly powerful. You know, like he's just swatting people away. You know what I mean? Blade is more like hand-to-hand combat. He's fighting people. You know what I mean? He's parrying.
Yeah, it's also a very fast.
He's very fast too,
I mean,
but I saw Wesley Snipes doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. Wesley Snipes could put it off. But think of it this way. Blade 1, 2, and a lot of Blade 3, they used a lot of fast cuts. So you were never in a position where you could fully absorb the frame and look at it and go, that really was Snipes in there. I mean, there were parts in Blade 3 where suddenly it cuts to a computer animated character, and the only way you could figure it out is because they got the animation wrong, and suddenly Blade leaps at 1,000 miles an hour across the room, and it's like physically impossible. So,
right,
I mean,
but Ray,
editing and
yeah, but filmmaking has changed.
styles,
Yeah, but filmmaking's changed now. Like they're using, you see the choreography in fightings now. They're doing more one takes, you know, and stuff like that. You know, you're seeing a lot more proper choreographed fights, so you can appreciate the fight, and so things are changing to a degree. When you know, like you see, like John Wick has set a new bar now. You know what I mean? And even with the Marvel films, you see some great, like, some one take sometimes. It's amazing.
Like Raid. Think of Raid.
The Raid
is a nice comparison
Raid is fantastic.
Blade, because if you're looking at fast-paced martial arts, weaponry, and all that one-cut scenario, then yeah, you can definitely see how Hollywood is trying to kind of go toe-to-toe with other genres and fighting styles from around the world.
I'm curious in hearing what Bob's got to say on this. Bob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What is the part that you're on?
We're on Blade because this is probably the one film which the MCU are making where they have a really high bar to go past, because Wesley Snipes' Blade 1 and 2 are superb films. Whether you like him or not, it has a massive following, and a lot of people, when they think of Blade, they think of those films, they think of Wesley Snipes. They think of the gore, the blood, the swearing, you know, like the beautiful executions, all of these things, you know. No holding back on those films.
Well, but they're also doing Deadpool 3. So I feel like we're gonna see a shift here very soon in the MCU where it's not all PG-13 friendly. I mean, like everyone says, oh, it's Disney, it's a House of Mouse. They won't do the R-rated. They won't, and I'm pretty sure that here in the near future, people are gonna be like, yeah, no, that they're gonna have a red band version of like a red band area of the MCU.
No, no, look,
I would not be surprised if they did that.
no, but my
This is what Fox is for.
no, but look, my question is though, this is the one film where it has something to measure to. It has a predecessor, which was a very good film. So this is the one film where I feel that because of it could be measured against the predecessor. It might not be as good as the predecessor. What do you think?
I think they will be fine. I think that they will probably do it well, and I'm
No,
just trying to think.
no,
Like, I mean,
no.
look, I didn't think the Blade. No, I didn't think the Blade movies were. I mean, they were fine, but like everybody talks about these Blade. The Blade movies were not touted as successes when they first came out. Like I mean, they were okay
Number one
movies.
was.
And keep
The
in mind that
first,
this was the beginning of the modern
dude,
age of the comic book genre.
they were reasonably successful. They spawned a trilogy. You know, what I mean, they weren't that bad. I mean, the third one's absolutely shit. I'll never ever stand up for the third one. But the first two were pretty good.
Yeah, but like any movie making over $50 million back then, or yeah, 50 million, like 50 to $100 million warranted like a trilogy. So I mean, the bar is definitely a lot different nowadays.
I still think that I could go now and watch Blade One or Blade Two and be very happy with those movies, and I know what I'm going to get. Now, when I think of Blade, I think of a guy who's no nonsense, doesn't give a shit about decorum, doesn't give a damn about not swearing, and is willing to kill on sight. And I'm not sure if Mahershala Ali can bring that to Blade into this movie. Plus, Wesley Snipes an established martial artist. I'm not sure if Mahershala Ali is, and those sort of the things that concern me. And look, I'm just talking about this film standing on its own two legs, because the other big problem is that if Mahershala Ali as Blade becomes an Avenger, how's he going to stop himself from swearing? Because Blade swears, as far as I'm concerned, Blade is a potty mouth. You know what I mean? So how we're not going to get that across, or they're going to change Blade in Disney and make him, instead of saying, damn motherfucker, he'll be saying, dang, or something like that. You know what I mean? He'll just, I'm just really concerned with this one. The more I think about it, and I really hope they do it service, because I like the old Blade and I want it to be better than the old Blade, not different, better. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that. Want to move on?
Sure.
Okay. Deadpool 3 is looking for its title and director. Title will be something creative, while Marvel is interested in Robert Rodriguez. There's a good one. Now, Robert Rodriguez would be better for Blade. Get him on Blade. You know what I mean? Perfect. Anyway, regardless, while Ryle Reynolds wants his Free Guy and Adam project director Sean Levy, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Ryan Reynolds will be pretty much the director of this movie, whoever he gets as director, because Ryan Reynolds knows his character inside and out. And nobody could. It's funny in a way. Why doesn't Ryan Reynolds be the director of this movie? Nobody does Deadpool better than him. He is Deadpool. It makes me wonder. Maybe he wants this Sean Levy because Sean Levy's a yes man. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't give a fuck too much. I'll start with you, Zam's nemesis, as you just arrived.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ryan Reynolds, what is his directing, past? Like, I don't even know, like, I, here's my thing is that I don't want to, I'm okay with Ryan Reynolds having creative control. I'm okay with Ryan Reynolds doing probably some of the writing, but directing is like, what's his credentials for directing? Because I want the right guy for the right
No, I
part.
agree.
And I know that like
He might be a first-time director, but he is an established actor, and what's his name? Chris Evans has directed the movie. He'll be doing his second directing gig soon. You
Well, and I understand that,
you got
but
to start somewhere.
do we want to give something as big as Deadpool 3 to Ryan Reynolds right off the bat? Because Chris Evans hasn't directed a big Marvel movie. He's directed some littler indie films.
I
So
do agree. I do agree. I guess somebody who is very easy to listen to Ryan Reynolds and work with him, because you do feel that this is a sort of character where you would feel Ryan Reynolds needs to be able to express himself as much as possible without too much directing interference, so to speak. But who needs to be able to direct him better than he can? Because he, I mean, you need somebody who knows Marvel comics, basically. Anyway, what about you, Bondino? Do you give a shit about this director situation regarding Deadpool 3?
I mean, I don't necessarily want to see Ryan Reynolds direct it. I wouldn't mind Ryan Reynolds being one of the producers. I kind of think, because there's a lot of comedy beats that are going to have to be hit. I kind of think you want an established comedic director. So for argument's sake, if he was available, Taika Waititi, I think the two of those could definitely bounce off each other and create something huge. Or perhaps you go back in time and you get someone like Kenneth Branagh. Someone, again, who knows, who has a history, who's kind of worked in the Marvel kind of universe. So, I mean, Deadpool 3 is going to be fucking hilarious. Everyone's going to go and watch it.
Now,
I don't think this is a Ryan Reynolds kind of... he can hold Deadpool, he can write Deadpool, but can he lead a film? Can he communicate everything, all the nuances, to all the various different departments to pull that shit together? I'm not sure he's quite there in this big of a project.
well, yeah, I mean, if they make it, I mean, it's gonna be very interesting what sort of money Deadpool 3 gets, because if it gets a massive budget behind it, the film might be bigger than Deadpool itself. And sometimes Deadpool is not. I sometimes think to myself, maybe Deadpool shouldn't be this spectacular, and maybe a bit more grounded to a degree, and mocks the spectacular from a distance. I'm also. I know people go on that Disney know they got Deadpool 3, they're going to make it R-rated. But does Disney really want to associate itself with the jokes that are from Deadpool? Because if you've seen the first two films, if you can remember the jokes from the first two films, yeah, Disney are associating themselves with some sick fucking humor. Yeah. Please.
You bring up something interesting when you say that. But bear in mind, Deadpool 2 was being filmed at a time where Disney were getting involved.
Yeah, but they didn't buy it.
No, but at the same time, the directors and the people who were making that film obviously had a Marvel connection, so they knew they had to be mindful. And Disney still bought into the IP.
Well, they already had a Deadpool 1. It's not. Yeah, they already had a Deadpool 1, and like far as they were concerned, Deadpool 2 and everything. There were so many Fox Marvel films that it would have been lost in the mix anyway. But now they have to do Deadpool 3, a film they're going to be making. Yeah, that means they're going to have to put all that sick humor, which is associated with Deadpool, and they're going to have to put their name on it too. And I find that fascinating, how far they're going to let the sick humor go, because the sick humor was really fucked up, and I loved it. I loved it because it was still done well. They weren't pulling any punches. It brought a smile to my face seeing how far Ryan Reynolds was taking this character, and I want to see. And the funny thing is with sequels, you have to push the bar. So what are they gonna do? You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with him as well. And plus, at the end of the day, if he ends up being an Avenger, it's gonna be fascinating how they mix this fourth wall breaking character with the Avengers. You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. And Bob, what you gotta say?
All right, so I have something, Zam. I've been thinking on what you said about somebody who can take a lot of creative input from Disney and from Ryan Reynolds, and I got it. The new director of Deadpool 3 is Ron Howard. No, not at all.
I'm kind of lost for words a little bit.
Come on, Ron Howard. He's like the one they go to when they gotta finish some. When they need just like a.
I,
put on a
Ron Howard, yeah, gets unnecessarily bad stick from a lot of people. He's a good director. Yeah, he's a very good
I never said he
director.
was a bad director.
No, but
That's the one Disney. The joke is that's the one Disney always goes to when they want to like, you know, put. Never mind, Sam.
I get
Never
it. I
mind.
get it. I get it. I get it. But but in all seriousness, if Ron Howard's name was put
Son of a
into this,
bitch messed up my joke.
if Ron Howard was put into this, I wouldn't mind either because he's a very flexible director and he's done some amazing movies. So let's not forget that. Okay, on to Guardians of the Galaxy
Um,
Volume 3. Unless you want to say any more to say, Bob?
no, I just was gonna comment on your last thing about just about Disney and all that. I'm telling you, we're all gonna kind of look back and think that we were silly for thinking that Disney, because Disney is in the business of making money. Deadpool, being as raunchy as fuck, makes money. So, I mean, I really feel like that they're gonna let I mean, it's not gonna be like a under the Disney logo. It's gonna be under the Marvel
Uh,
Studios logo. They're not gonna like Disney won't closely affiliate themselves with it, but it'll still be a Disney product. And
isn't it?
I think
Yeah,
Disney
but
likes
look, just
making
look
money,
but
so
look
they're
at
gonna
it.
let them do it.
But you can have smarks, so to speak, like us in the Marvel world, in comic book world, plenty of us who see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And they're gonna know that Disney are associating themselves. I mean, Disney can create a million and one companies, and try to put a long a breadcrumb trail between them and that company, but it's still going to lead back to them, and it's still going to be them in charge. So, um, and once again, and then I go back to Blade. Are they going to be able to make it a motherfucking Blade? With fucking people getting executed on site and shit like that, decapitations and stuff like that. Are they able to pull that off too? I mean, and then at the same time, is Deadpool and people like Blade, if they do make them R-rated, are they still going to be involved in the Avengers? Because if that's the case, then they definitely know they're going to be all connected and shit, and Disney owns them. I mean, they can't distance themselves from this, no matter what they do. People are going to know it's them. Yeah? No matter what you say on that one, Bob. I totally disagree. Nothing to say?
Ultimately, sorry, just to cut in. Ultimately, Disney Disney are in the business of making money, and Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, it's a no-brainer. It's going to end up with a shit ton of money in the bank, and I think the Marvel and Disney execs are smart enough to play the PR game, to kind of play the cat and mouse. And when it comes to Deadpool in the MCU as a character, and in the Avenger films and all that type of stuff, he's the perfect man to be the narrator for the audience, to turn around and break the fourth wall, and then throw in the perfect gag to kind of
That's
set the scene
risky.
alight.
That's
It's going to work.
risky.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's risky. It all
But
depends
that's
on
what
what.
he does in
Yeah, I know,
Deadpool 1 or
but
2.
you couldn't have that sort of. You couldn't have that mindset in say Endgame. Which was a very bleak film for most of the parts. Yeah, and then you have someone like Deadpool in a bleak
Yeah, but you
Avengers
need
movie.
moments of levity.
Yeah, but then it takes you out of the film, doesn't it? Because it takes you it doesn't. I would hate, honestly, what you're talking about. It would work in some concepts. It wouldn't work in all concepts, and I would hate it if I'm watching a serious film.
Okay, and look, okay,
Yeah, I could.
you bring Endgame up. You
Yeah,
bring Endgame up, yeah, I get it. But just think, uh, the infamous Avengers Assemble moment. Imagine having Deadpool come in just after that line with a catchphrase about Thor always knew you could pull it, or something like that. It would just add. It's just a mismatch of how you do it. Obviously, you do it smart. You pull the gag in when you need to raise the energy, but when you're looking for the dark and all that stuff, of course, you leave in the background. I mean, there are ways around it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
um, I will see how it plays out before I make my decision. I'm very iffy on that. I don't mind some fourth wall breaking, but I wouldn't want it in everything. Um, I would want it in what it works in. I mean, if it's more Deadpool related, it works for that. But I think after seeing Deadpool among, sorry, after seeing the Avengers, and some of them will still be around. and Deadpool immersing
know
himself
what?
in it. I wouldn't want it too much, if at all.
You know what then?
Hmm.
Think of it this way: Tony Stark was always cracking jokes, and now that we don't have a Robert Downey Jr. cracking jokes, why not replace that type of comedy relief element
I
with
know
Deadpool?
we do, we
It's
do.
before they
We
can
we
work it
we
in.
we have Peter Quill, Star Lord. You know, I think like even Rhodey was showing some humor in Infinity Wars and stuff and Endgame. There's more to him than meets the eye. Falcon looks like he's good with the quips as well. I think there's more to it. I mean, I think Tony Stark is because he's been established from day one. He's more memorable. But I wouldn't put it past everyone. I think there's more to it. Look at Rocket Raccoon. Perfect. Look at him.
When you talk about breaking he never broke the fourth wall, but man, did he bring comedy. I mean,
we're
the
talking about a
first time
talking
I
raccoon,
saw
dude.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I cried nearly every time he cracked a joke.
Bradley Cooper.
It just was so fucking
He's a
funny.
legend. Anyway, let's move on. So it looks like we're on to Guardians of the Galaxy. Funny enough, casting won't start for a while until James Gunn finishes Peacemaker. Starker and Aisha come back in bigger roles. Who's Starker and Aisha? I don't know these characters. Yes, James Gunn is actually filming or making the Suicide Squad, and then he'll be doing the Peacemaker, which is John Cena's character in the Suicide Squad. He'll be doing a series on him. Yeah, John Cena's really trying to make it.
So are you saying that on an upcoming movie, Suicide, John Cena's going to be in it?
Yeah, he's one of the many people who could possibly die. In it, like all these, like we're talking,
I'm looking forward to seeing Cena on the big screen in that film.
He looks perfect for the role. I mean, because Marvel characters on comic book on paper, they're big bulging biceps and stuff like that in their stupid outfits. Where you put the stupid outfits on a guy with big bulging biceps, he looks absolutely perfect for the role. 1 second, let me just get what Bob's got to say.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, go on.
Don't get me wrong. When it comes to John Cena as a performer, anytime he's come out of that squared circle and gone onto the big screen, he hasn't fulfilled, or he hasn't shone like he does in the wrestling circuit. And okay, fine, a comic book movie is the ideal place to put a comic book looking man, but at the same time, I'm gonna hold my breath and I'm just gonna wait to see what happens. But I can't get excited about it.
People were saying that
in a comic book movie.
People were saying that he should play the Sandman in Spider-Man. I think that's great casting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great casting, personally.
I mean, when you look at what you saw before in the previous movies and the type of shape of actor they brought in for that, he could definitely fulfill that role. And he doesn't need to have a big range. He just needs to have a lot of sorrow about him and be a moody bastard.
Well, anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not going to be filming that much anyway because a lot of the Guardians are going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. Maybe not all for the whole film, but for I think the beginning of the movie, because they're going to have to pay off the fact that Thor left with the Guardians at the end of Endgame. I think they feel they need to pay that off a tiny bit when it comes to him leaving them, if you know what I mean. So we're going to get small cameos from the Guardians in Thor: Love and Thunder as well.
I can see them in the first act and the third act.
I can just see
the Guardians opening up in the first act because they've got Thor on board.
No, I just see them in the first act. No, I don't
have a little cameo at the end.
No, I don't want them in the third act. That's it. They're done. They're now on their way to do their own thing. Yeah, that's it. Like they say their goodbyes, and he goes that way, and Thor goes that way, and I don't want them to see them after that. That's because then it sets up for their own movie, which will be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Anyway, Fantastic Four are looking for additional writers alongside John Watts. No idea about that, but fair enough. I mean, Fantastic Four
Yeah,
is.
but they were.
It's amazing how people are gagging for a good Fantastic Four film. But at some
Well, let's
point,
face it, Sony have only put out shit ones to keep the IP.
I want. See, I've wanted a couple of things to happen. Like I want some Easter egg crossovers. Like I've said already that I want Baron Zemo and Thor to have a race like they did in the movie Rush. Yeah, and because those two actors were the guys racing each other, Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl. They who are Thor and Zemo respectively. They were in a movie called Rush where they played racing car drivers, and so these two actors are happen to be in
Hold
the
on a second.
yeah.
Baron Zemo,
Daniel
he's
Bruhl.
basically a standard human.
Yeah.
I mean, how can a standard human be a
In a
race that can move at the speed of
no, but he's in a car. He's in a car. They're gonna have to be in a car. Thor has to drive a car. I know it's a bit weird. You'll have to learn, but for the sake of an Easter egg, for the sake of an Easter egg, they need to make that happen. And with Fantastic, same with the Fantastic Four. Like, I want to see Chris Evans's old man Cap meet the Human Torch, whoever that plays, because obviously he was the Human Torch. In the he was Johnny Storm in the old Fantastic Four.
That could be funny.
And I want to see that happen. I want to see those are the Easter eggs I want to see happen. It's no different to them.
They will get the opportunity.
Well, look, they put Evan Peters as Pietro. Anything's possible now. So and like people never let Chris Evans forget. I mean, he's lucky. He's kind of moved on, but people still remember that he was Johnny Storm. So that's never going to leave him. Anyway, Mutants is set for around 2025. A-Force and Nova movies are also in active development, so they'll be out in about 4 years. Excuse me. Not too fussed about some of that stuff because, like, A-Force and Nova, like, before they throw that on us, they'll have to do groundwork in maybe other films so we even know what this shit is when it approaches us. Marvel and Feige have interest in Millie Bobby Brown. I can never say this actress's name. Saoirse Ronan? Is that Saoirse Ronan? John Krasinski, Emily Blunt. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are married. Liam Hemsworth, that'll be interesting, have another Hemsworth on the scene. Jonathan Groff, Anya Taylor-Joy, okay, she's a good actress. Reggie Jean Page, Annie de Armas, yeah, she's a good actress. Gary Oldman, and Keanu Reeves for future roles in upcoming projects. Jesus Christ, there's a word around that Henry Cavill.
We're really in the wind.
Word around that Henry Cavill, and Marvel have talked about a role after the Superman reboot news. Well, there's rumors that they want Henry Cavill to play Captain Britain. Perfect role. But maybe I think the problem is he's pretty much playing an English Superman. Like, Captain America is Superman of Marvel when it comes to the spirit and the sort of characteristics of that person. He's very similar to Superman, do-gooder, Boy Scout, would put himself out for anybody. Yeah, and Captain Britain is a bit like that too. So he's basically playing an English Superman. Why doesn't Henry Cavill join the MCU as a reoccurring villain? That'll be much better for him. Don't play the good guy, play the bad guy instead. You know what I mean?
I loved him in the last Mission Impossible.
He was brilliant. It's a shame they killed him off. I like the way they revealed that he was the bad guy from the beginning. Very clever. It was different. It wasn't a surprise. Right from the beginning, they told you this guy's, he's the bad guy, and I thought, no one's ever written shit like that before. He's just so different. What I mean? So okay. Anyways, where are we? Falcon and Winter Soldier has several MCU cameos. Ross and Zola are some of them. Who the hell is Ross and Zola? Do you have Ross and Zola?
Well, Zola was wasn't Zola the computer? Wasn't Zola the computer?
Oh yes,
in,
yes. Ross is
in
Thunderbolt
Civil
Ross.
War?
See, look, they abbreviate the names too much. Yeah, I keep thinking Gorgonzola, but it's not. It's that's a cheese. It's Argonzola or something like that. And Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross. I think I might have even seen him in a clip. I'll be shocked if Thunderbolt Ross is always going to be around these sort of characters. That's what he does. You know, if he's not standing next to the Hulk, he's standing next to these guys. So.
But I mean, it won't be long until we find out whether that rumor is true.
But Zola's a computer, so how's he coming? I swear they deactivated him in Winter Soldier.
Well, you know, they could always just have a backup somewhere else. After all, he is a bit of a digital character at this point.
Good point. Good point. We'll see. I'll be curious to see what they do with Zola. Actually, curious. Loki is the most.
Don't forget in Endgame, you kind of get a hint of him in the background when Tony starts getting the Tesseract and he meets his dad. So who's to say that there isn't multiple computers around the world that has Zola's conscience?
Sorry, 1 second. Just getting Bob back.
Zam's nemesis has returned. It's gonna get.
That's right. I'm here to kick it in the driveway of a 500-mile trip.
All right. So we apparently we just mentioned very briefly that Ross and Thunderbolt Ross and Argonzola is going to be possibly reappearing in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not surprised about Thunderbolt Ross at all. It makes total sense that he would show up at some point.
That's the one that I mentioned the other day in our What We Want from Falcon and the Winter Soldier preview or whatever it was. I mean, I mentioned Thaddeus Ross was going to be the Thunderbolt Ross was going to be the
but they're not
person come like the surprise or whatever.
Yeah, but if you have to think about it, I think recently within the MCU they haven't used him well. Thunderbolt Ross, they really need to do something good with him. Don't you think so? Like really make him significant this time round. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I mean they just basically delegated him to the Secretary of Defense, and like he doesn't do much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like here's my idea for Thaddeus Ross, and this doesn't have to be in this show, but like so my idea was he after all of this Falcon and Winter Soldier nonsense goes down, he finally refines the formula to something, because in the comic book, spoiler alert, he's Red Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like through all of, maybe not even in this movie or anything like that, or in this show or anything like that, but they what they can do is they can have him perfect the super soldier serum, but mix it with like the Hulk, the hulking and whatever they use to make the Hulk serum, because that's how Thunderbolt Ross became Red Hulk. And through all of that, what they do is, Thunderbolt Ross kind of de-ages a little bit, and they recast him as a younger actor, not like super young. I'm not talking 20s, not even 30s. Maybe somebody who's really fit in their 40s or something like that. They give him the stash. He looks similar to Thunderbolt Ross, William Hurt's Thunderbolt Ross. But I mean, and then they just recast him as a younger actor who is, a bit more in his prime. And, he gets, I don't know. It was the only way I could be explaining away.
He will have a bigger role, I believe, in Black Widow, and they're using de-aging technology on him too, which is interesting as well.
Yeah, but I think it's just, and that's kind of what I was going to say to you, Zam, is that I think the scene you're talking about where you've seen him in previews, that's for Black Widow.
Yeah.
He was in the trailer for Black Widow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're going to use him more for Black Widow. I think he'll have a bigger role in that because he hasn't had a big role since Hulk. Honestly, he hasn't had any significant role since Hulk, and it's about time Thunderbolt Ross starts dropping some thunderbolts.
I mean, he was in Infinity War. And
but I'm talking like real memorable significance. So like having a period in the film where you felt okay, he's like the Sokovia Accord was something he brought up, but even then it didn't stick. You know, like he really needs to like. I really want him to feel like he's a part of this universe by laying some groundwork, laying some laws that affects everyone. And I want him to be. You know, this is Thunderbolt Ross we're talking about. You hyped him up earlier. You wanted him to see him in this show. Let's make him significant at least, because that's what I want from him. I want some significance.
But I don't think the actor William Hurt's going to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
I feel like they're going to have to.
I'm not asking for Red Hulk. Honestly, I don't care about Red Hulk that much. I just want
I'm
him
not
to.
even talking about Red Hulk. I'm just talking about making him younger.
Not even necessarily younger, but just making him a vocal character, somebody that has an air of presence around, like over the whole scenario, over the whole thing. You feel, even when you don't see him on screen, his presence is felt because he's such an authoritarian. And all of those sort of things, we just haven't seen enough of that, and hopefully we'll see more of that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to move on to Loki. So Loki is the most crazy yet fun MCU series. Oh, I'm sorry, by the way, you got anything to say, Mondino? I might have missed you out regarding Falcon and Winter Soldier and Ross.
I mean, it's around the corner, so I mean, my appetite is wet. I'm not that excited about it, but I know I'm going to enjoy it.
I'm absolutely gagging for it.
Be, for me, probably one of the best
I can't speak for Bob, but
I mean, yeah, it's around the corner. Like,
I can't speak for Bob.
We'll see. I mean,
no, go on. Okay.
No, I mean, there's nothing really much I have to say when it comes to Falcon and Winter Soldier. So.
Oh, I'm absolutely gagging for it. By the way, Ray, I can't wait for it. I am dying for it. I don't know about Bob. Are you gagging for it, Bob?
Oh yeah, this out of the entire. Are you talking about Loki or Winter Soldier?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, no. This when they announced every single MCU project, the one that I marked out for the most was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was the one that what makes the most sense coming up, but at the same time was more than WandaVision, more than Loki, more than She-Hulk or Moon Knight or Ms. Marvel, any of those. I'm gagging for this one the most.
Yeah, likewise.
So, and I mean, I love how Zam is a British citizen and he is gagging for the Captain America show. I'm just saying.
I love Captain America. I love it's Captain America is not an he's called Captain America, but he's a symbol of for the world, and that's why I love him so much.
That's right, because he's all American, baby.
Dude, he's about as American as fucking roast beef. He's very much a representative of all things good. He just happens to be called Captain America, but you don't see him flaunting patriotism. If anything, he flaunts righteousness, and that's what I like about him. I think the U.S. agent's going to be a total different kettle of fish, and he's going to be throwing patriotism down everyone's throat while be literally with his fist, and it'll be interesting to see. Actually, I can't wait to see this alternative version of Captain America and Falcon Winter Soldier in U.S. Agent. I can't wait to see this douchey Captain America. I'm looking forward to it. What about you? I'm really looking forward to U.S. Agent. But Mondino? Hello?
Who's that too?
Mondino.
I haven't even come across the US agent, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Do you know who US agent is?
Nope.
He's basically like somebody who takes over the mantle of Captain America, but he's more of a government agent, and he's nothing like Steve Rogers. He's like total opposite. Very much, punch first, talk later.
Yeah, he's more militaristic. Like he is the Captain America that they wanted back in Captain America: The First Avenger. During the bags and bond or the bags and bonds or whatever that he was doing on the road. This is the Captain America they wanted, the one that's a company man or that works for the government. And yeah, it's going to be interesting because U.S. Agent's always been one of my more interesting foils to Cap, even though he's not necessarily a villain. Like, let's be clear. He was a West Coast Avenger for a bit. So he's not necessarily a villain, although I'm pretty sure the government will lead him on the wrong path because that's all the U.S. government ever does is, destroy everything it touches.
Depending if they keep him alive or not, hopefully they won't kill him off. he will be definitely the antagonist of Falcon and Winter Soldier for sure. But technically, Bucky is no different to Steve when it comes to power levels. I think they're pretty much the same, aren't they, in strength and stuff.
Well, they're both super soldiers with the serum. And
Yeah,
the
but Bucky's serum is not the
One
same. Bucky's serum is not the same as Steve's. You know, he's on something else, but he's still a super soldier. Like what it is with Steve's serum enhanced his personality, so all the good things about Steve were more. So Steve was a dude. I mean, the guy was willing to jump on a grenade as a skinny kid. You can imagine what the serum would have done to his persona. You know, he was more superheroistic than ever. Because, you know, the doctor mentioned that.
It gave him the body to suit his ego.
No. The doctor actually said that it makes a better man, something like a better man better, like, or in the sense that if you're already a good person, it'll make you more good because you're already.
That's what happened with Red Skull.
Yeah, he was already an arsehole.
That's why Red Skull became even more villainous.
Yeah. And plus that he was using a different formula as well, which fucked him up. Bob, you got anything to say regarding all of that?
No, I think I've beat that down.
One more thing, by the way, I've only mentioned this when I did my own video. I never mentioned it to you guys. Excuse me. Is that of all the characters I'm most interested in, I'm really curious about Bucky's journey, because Bucky's journey is like, okay, he's finally being himself after 50, 60, 70 years of being a mind-controlled agent, and then a good portion of years of just being on the run, you know, but now he's able to just be himself and not, you know, worry about other people, so to speak. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes. He's no longer under mind control, so we believe. So I'm very curious about his arc in this show, because it's finally, it'll be good to see you know, Bucky Barnes and not the Winter Soldier, and see this persona come out. But we've always seen him as this quiet guy after First Avenger, after he disappeared from that. So I'm curious about that. What about you two? I'll start with you, Bob.
I mean, the
Sorry.
thing of...
Sorry, Mondino, you started. Go on.
I was going to say, I mean, you kind of see a bit more of a flamboyant Bucky in First Avenger, and now you kind of have an apologist Bucky because of all the acts he's been made to do. So it'd be nice to see the transition back to more of the flamboyant.
I want to see him happy. I really do. I want to see some happiness from Bucky. You know, I want to see the guy enjoy life again. You know, what about you, Bob?
I think that I mean, obviously we're going to get character exploration with Bucky. I mean, him getting his happily ever after is probably a good thing too.
Yeah, he deserves it. Okay, let's
him dying. One of the two.
Let's stick with the script. So, Loki is the most crazy yet fun MCU series yet. They mentioned yet twice. The guy can't write for shit. Richard D. Grant is playing old Loki, while Sophie DiMartino is playing Enchantress. Enchantress is somebody I'm not familiar with, but Richard D. Grant playing old Loki is superb casting, in my opinion. You know, what do you guys think of that? I love Richard D. Grant. Fantastic actor. He's been in so much stuff. You know, he played is it Mr. Sinister in Logan, and he was obviously the one of the Moths, I think, in Rise of Skywalker, or one of the admirals in Rise of Skywalker. So he's been in a lot of stuff, and to see him play old Loki is great casting. What do you think, Bob?
I mean, I think Loki's going to be a kind of a crazy, time travel thing. Yeah, it's going to be it's definitely going to be a Legends of Tomorrow type thing where they're just like all over the place. And I mean, I hope it is a little bit goofy. I hope it is a little bit crazy. You know, I kind of hope they go a little bit further than WandaVision. Like WandaVision was weird. Like this one just needs to be a little bit more crazy and kooky. It would be funny though. I mean, if you're doing time travel and all that, like, and they're having multiple Lokis, just make a bunch of Lokis go throughout time, and like have this adventure.
I think there's going to be a lot of one-upmanship in Loki between Loki and the Bureau, because one thing for sure is Loki, he'll want to win, and then in his idea of winning would be to get back at the people who are controlling him, which is this Bureau, and I think at some point Loki will need to get one over on them, and I feel that's how the series will end, with him beating them. Even though they're using him for what they need. I don't know if you think the same, Mondino.
I mean, you make it sound like one of the characters from the Titans, the guy playing the kid, who's forever, who realizes he needs to kind of get away from all that shit. I mean, I hope they don't kind of go down that route too much, because it's like we've seen before. And I mean,
Oh,
we
I
all
don't.
love Tom Hiddleston's Loki. And I mean,
I don't expect.
whatever's going to happen, it's going to be fun.
I don't expect Loki to be redeeming, because this is the Loki from Avengers Assemble, who never came across redemption, because he started to change once his mum got murdered for the Dark World. He's not going to experience that in this. So this is a different Loki. This is still the evil Loki. So I expect the evil Loki at some point to get back at the people controlling him, even though he's doing their bidding. And I feel there's going to be a lot of tit for tat between them two, which is going to be more interesting to me than the work he's going to be doing for them. It seems like a very confusing show, but it's weird in a way. You're going.
I suspect, because of the way people respond to Tom Hiddleston, come the end of it, he's going to be teetering on being a good Loki, or at least a Loki that has a conscience. It would be something like, I don't think he's going to stay evil Loki for long.
I hope he does. Personally. We need reoccurring bad guys, and I like the fact that bad guys are front and center of shows, because if you making the villains the centerpiece, it gives you more characters to work with. Okay, Bob, you got anything to say on that? No? Okay.
Bob, you're muted.
I think he said no and then unmuted.
Oh, sorry. No, I've pretty much said my piece.
Okay, fine.
I'm good on Loki.
Okay, there's a talk about dropping all 12 episodes of What If at once. Well, depends how long they are. If they're like 20 minutes, then yeah, drop them all. Are you cool with that? I'll start with you, Bob.
20. Wait, so dropping what all at once?
The What If episodes. Depends on the length.
Maybe release. Yeah, I mean, if they're 20-minute increments, maybe drop 2 a week. Maybe do that rather than. I mean, because I think they're only releasing 10 at a time. Like, they say that they're gonna do like one for each Marvel movie, so that's at least, or for in the Infinity Saga, so it's at least 23 episodes. But I also heard that they're releasing only 10, so maybe they're gonna do 10, and then do another or maybe they'll do 12, and then I don't know, or 11. I don't know. I've heard different stories on this whole thing, and I think they keep going back and forth on it. I mean, I don't really want them to release all 20 some episodes at once. I wouldn't blame them if they did 5 and 5 and 5 and kind of split it up a bit. But I mean, if these episodes are all episodic, and there's not some overarching story, I mean, just take your time with it. I
agree.
I don't like the whole binge dropping thing. It doesn't give us a chance to kind of sit for a week and stew on something. I thought binging was great when it first started with Netflix, but now that we're kind of getting into the streaming era where everything is streaming, I'm more kind of no, I kind of miss that they've been doing with CBS, well, Paramount Plus with Star Trek, and Disney Plus now with WandaVision and all that, and Mandalorian. I'm kind of glad they're doing that in that format. So I wouldn't mind if they're doing all 23 episodes, I wouldn't mind if they dropped 2 a week, and just kind of did that. But I heard that they're doing only 10 episodes in the first run, and then doing more episodes after that. But if there's 23 episodes total, then I don't know. There's just been a lot of back and forth from what I've heard.
Bob, you've changed my mind. I I wouldn't mind all 12 drop, but it actually, if even if it's only 20 minutes an episode, two a week would be fine by me. There's plenty to talk about going across the week. What about you, Mondino? Would you like all of them dropped at once, or would you like it in little increments?
Ah, I've kind of gotten used to the whole binge watching, and there's a nice romanticism about what your arch nemesis is saying about having a bit of time to stew and think on it. And one thing that I've noticed when it's come to Mandalorian and WandaVision, it's been nice to look forward to the next episode. But when it comes to stuff like that, where it's all main story and it's all building up to something, then yeah, I can see it. I can see why you want to give people in those chunks and kind of like let people kind of absorb it a bit more. But when it comes to the what ifs, where I don't really mind if they drop it all at once because it won't be pivotal to the story. It won't kind of move the story on or introduce new things. It's more about stuff we know and what if something happened differently. So I don't mind either way.
I just want to also add regarding the binging that Cobra Kai came out at the beginning of the year, like a couple of days in. Everybody watched that, and within a week, nobody was talking about Cobra Kai anymore. So many episodes, all binged at once, and that's it. Cobra Kai's done. You know, if it was put out on a weekly basis, I'm sure it would have got a lot more appreciation. And I actually like, as long as we got content and stuff to watch here and there, I don't mind the weekly stuff. I really don't. I like being able to talk about it, theorizing, all of this sort of stuff. It's fun. Okay, Ms. Marvel is really heartwarming. Okay, I don't give a fuck about that. Uh, Anyone gives a fuck about that? No? Nobody? Oh.
No, I'm good. Let's move on. I mean, I like Miss Marvel, but
Hawkeye is very intense yet fun. Okay, that's great. I don't care. This is bullshit, you see? Like, bullshit. Okay, so moving on. Now, this is a good one. Liv Tyler returns as Betty Ross in She-Hulk. Abomination and Titiana are the main villains. So Liv Tyler returning as Betty Ross is a pretty good one in my opinion. What do you guys think? I don't know in what capacity she'll be used. It's a clever idea, because she is Thunderbolt Ross's daughter as well. I'll start with you, Mondino. What do you think?
I mean, most of Liv Tyler's story arc has been love interest and the one that's kind of trying to get Ross on side. So if we haven't got a Bruce Banner for her to defend, then they're going to have to reinvent the character. So it could be interesting as a way of kind of starting again, but honestly, I'm not that fussed.
Before I bring Bob in, this is a bit of a weird one because this is another problem with Ross. Not since the Hulk movie has he had any interactions with Bruce Banner or the Hulk. So it's a bit of a weird one. It's actually a bit of it's poor form actually to a degree that he's had very little interaction. For fuck's sake, they were both at Tony Stark's funeral. So put something there. But no, there's nothing there. So how they're going to use Betty Ross, and will Thunderbolt Ross be involved as well in some capacity? He has got a massive connection with the Hulk. Who knows? What about you, Bob? What you got to say on this? Betty Ross coming back. Bobby?
sorry, I'm in the middle of things. This is what you get when you get me on the road. Okay, so the last thing I heard was about Betty Ross coming back and Abomination and all that. Did you move on from that?
No, I just want to know about Betty Ross coming back. Good idea, bad idea?
Oh, I think it's a great idea. The only problem is that if you get Bruce Banner and her in the same room, I mean, it's going to be awkward because, I mean, it's a different actor than Edward Norton. So, but I'm okay with her coming back. The other thing is that movie was over 10 years ago. So, I mean, maybe like just because it's over 10 years ago, I mean, Liv Tyler probably still looks the same as she did 10 years ago, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't hate it. I like Liv Tyler as Betty Ross. But I wouldn't be disappointed at a recast as long as it's somebody good. But at the same time, as I said, I mean, we got the same Thaddeus Ross. So It's a catch-22. I mean, there's good things, there's bad things. I don't mind it either way.
I remember how she just dumped her boyfriend the moment she saw Bruce. Imagine she's going out with somebody else. Oh, there's Bruce. See you later, love. I mean, she's got a history of doing it before. She dump her new boyfriend the moment she sees him. Anyway, I
Well,
don't.
and
You're going.
I would love it if that guy was because you know who that guy was from the comic books, the boyfriend?
Go on, tell me.
Is it was Doc Samson. He's another gamma powered guy, like another gamma powered person who got, hit with a gamma, not a gamma bomb like the Hulk, but like just gamma radiation.
God,
And he
everything's
got like this
gamma.
really long green hair, and so he became strong and everything, but he was nowhere near the level of the Hulk. But I think it would be funny if he came back and he like got powers in the She-Hulk show.
See, look, Moon Knight is the most serious and dark of any of the MCU property yet. They've got fucking Blade for fuck's sake. But anyway, Naomi Scott is in talks for the role. I've actually heard they've already casted Oscar Isaac. They got him on board as to play Moon Knight. But so Oscar Isaac's back with Disney. Naomi Scott is in talks for the role as well. She's probably a love interest or some shit like that. Good actress though. Moon Knight. You guys interested in that? Marvel's Batman. Mondino.
It's one of those. It's one of those things that have never come across the character. So, I mean, I'll be happy to see what they do, but beyond that, I haven't got a clue.
Likewise, this is somebody who I'll understand and learn, and will be fleshed out in front of my eyes. But execution's the key, and I'd love to see how they execute this. This is a vigilante who wears white, but he wants to be seen. And is he really? And what I do know about him is that is he really this Moon Knight character, or is it all in his mind? We'll find out. Bob, what you got to say about Moon Knight?
Not much, because I don't know much about him, honestly. I mean, he's like a lot of people compare him to Batman, but I guess it's like if Batman had multiple personalities, I guess.
Okay, so Kobe Smulders returns as Maria Hill in Secret Invasion. And there is a character who deserves more to do. She's been in the MCU for a long time, and she deserves a bigger role. Definitely deserves an upgrade. Ralph Fiennes and Sarah Paulson are being looked at for major roles. So Colby Smulders returning as Maria Hill. We both said that she should have survived the blip in our opinions. Maybe led Shield. It's a shame she didn't. But yep, she's gonna be in Secret Invasions. Are you happy about that, Bob?
You talk about Maria Hill?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maria Hill was a big part of the Secret Invasion storyline. So I mean, I wouldn't even be upset if she took over the Earth-based version of. I mean, I know we have Sword now technically, but I mean, I feel like Maria Hill was always skirted under the rug. So
Yeah, I really
I'm
want more
very
for her.
excited for her.
I really want more from her. I want Marvel to give us more Maria Hill.
I actually want more of her than I want of Nick Fury. I'm not gonna lie. Like I like Samuel L. Jackson, but I'm kind of okay with Maria Hill taking over.
Mm-hmm. The best we got of Nick Fury was in Winter Soldier. There was a lot of Nick Fury in that. The action scene he had in the car with the machine gun. Fantastic. Bondina, are you happy with more Maria Hill?
Oh yes, I can quite happily sit in the cinema and watch her all day, all night long. But at the same time, taking it more seriously, the character, they never really flushed her out properly, and she always had good moments, and she was kind of a key player here and there. But yeah, I think Marvel have had so many other characters to kind of flush out that it was never the right time to give us more Maria Hill. Just like it was never the right time to give us more Thunderbolt Ross.
No, the right time to give us.
This could be a nice time to introduce them.
The nice
properly.
The nice time. You know what they could have done, and they could have made Maria Hill do what Black Widow did. Take one for the team. That would have been a good way to use Maria Hill, in my opinion. But if they're not going to kill her off, then they need to flesh her out, like they've done with Wanda, like they've done with Vision. like they will be doing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I want to flesh that out
But
because
that's my point.
yeah,
If you flesh out Maria Hill,
hmm
she gets more screen time, then it kind of detracts away from where the MCU were trying to go with the three main people, with Thor, with Captain, and with
oh no, no,
Iron
it will not detract from them. Those guys are always going to be popular, dude. They're going
Man.
to
No,
have
but I
their own
mean,
movies.
you all all the actors in the supporting roles that kind of gave those characters as much oomph as they had were the people they flushed out. And Maria Hill didn't really get any screen time as anyone supporting character other than Nick Fury's. And Nick Fury was kind of a fleeting character here and there where they needed someone to kind of progress the story. He kind of was the person that came in to give direction and then let them go. So you couldn't really fit Maria Hill into the MCU without it kind of being forced. But if she's getting her own show in Secret
Okay, Bob.
Invasions, then this is the ideal time to kind of let that character shine.
Fair enough. Bob had to shoot off. Ironheart will feature Morgan Stark now. Ironheart is the female Iron Woman. She, I know very little of Ironheart. She's an African American character, but Morgan Stark will be in it as well. Morgan Stark being Tony's daughter, so that's going to be interesting. Hopefully, she'll be a genius just like her old man. I wouldn't be surprised if she. I'll be surprised if she isn't, because this is how movies are in general. Usually, the kids are very similar to their parents, so to speak, when it comes to the MCU, when it comes to comic book films and science fiction and stuff like that. So I expect Morgan Stark. I mean, like Tony Howard Stark was a genius. Tony Stark was obviously a genius, and I expect Morgan Stark to be a genius too. But I don't expect Morgan Stark to be an Ironheart. I expect it to be that other girl. Maybe Morgan Stark will more be like the girl in the chair, maybe more like a Jarvis sort of person. Here's a show I'm very much looking forward to. Armor Wars. That'll be the War Machine show with Rhodey doing his thing, trying to like retrieve. Well, what I've heard, he's trying to retrieve a lot of Tony Stark's technology, which is scattered throughout the black market, as well through like shady government agencies and stuff like that. Sam Rockwell will return as Justin Hammer. Sam Rockwell's Justin Hammer was a very comedic villain in Iron Man 2, but to see him return as Justin Hammer will be very interesting. You looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to Armor Wars more than I'm looking forward to Winter Soldier and
Well, that's not
that one.
won't be out till next year.
I know I've got ages to wait, but I kind of I'm kind of drawn more to Warhammer and than I am to
War Machine.
War Machine. That's the one. Than I am to Bucky Barnes and.
I put my money on us seeing Vision in Armor Wars. What do you think? It's a good time for him to return. He is also Tony Stark tech. And he paralyzed.
As far as the way the MCU have been placing characters, it makes sense that he would be eventually in a position to kind of help War Machine get back Tony Stark tech. So yeah,
No, not that at all. I'm saying he is the tech War Machine is trying to get. The Vision, the White Vision at the end of WandaVision, that's
gonna have to be more of a crossover because you're gonna need more than War Machine to get him back.
Well, it all depends on how they write it, how they do it. It could be War Machine just trying to get through to him because, as I said before, Rhodey has known Jarvis pretty much since his conception. Rhodey was paralyzed by Vision in Civil War. If he can trigger those memories within Vision, maybe he can get through to him. And
I mean, Vision already triggered all those memories, so it's not like he's not going to have those thoughts in his head already. It's more about if this is going to be like a punch or more of a fight sequence. Vision's going to destroy War Machine. So
War Machine would
have
War Machine.
maybe some more people coming in to help.
War Machine will have no chance. Rhodey will have no chance in a fight against Vision. He'll have to get through to him through his mind, But then
I don't think they'll go down to that route. If anything, it will be a load of Tony Stark's plans or a load of unseen Iron Man suits or his nanotech. It makes more sense to have Cody to have Rhodes going around, kind of looking as more of a more of like a sleuth, a detective, kind of figuring out where it's all gone and chasing the leads. That kind of makes more sense to me.
Okay, finally, the Wakanda series will be a prequel about the foundations of Wakanda. That sounds like absolute bullshit. Like, you're gonna make a show about the foundations of Wakanda? I've never heard so much bullshit in my life.
I mean, eventually you're gonna get interested, depending how they kind of lay the groundwork in the movies and the TV series.
This is stupid, man. Who cares about
that's
the
so far away.
I think this is now. I want to quickly read some of the comments here. So this person wrote, you were doing so well. It was all sort of believable. Then you fumbled the bag on the episode count of What If. If it's confirmed to be 10 episodes, not 12, good try. Definitely high probability this is fake. But someone can easily get a number wrong by misremembering. Personally, the Black Panther stuff sounds like fan fiction. Loki right round the corner and guesses they are pretty specific and out there, so also very easy when the show drops. Has there been any speculation on those casting options elsewhere in the wild? Great being old Loki, King Loki, DiMartino being the Enchantress are some of the safest bets you can place on this show, though, and their known roles. Yes, and there's a little girl playing young Sylvie, which implies Sylvie, the second Enchantress, is a big enough character in the show to have a young version of herself appear, probably through flashbacks. Well, they're going pretty deep. Good, so that, you know what, it's just too much. But some of the people are not believing this.
This Reddit is basically, the first couple of things that they're going to be happening in the next couple of years, where stuff is kind of contractually sorted and they're going to start filming. Yeah, that's all good, but let's face it, most of this is just whatever the person wanted. Is kind. I'm done with this Reddit now.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, so let's end the stream. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, and don't forget to keep an eye out because Ray and I are going to review Snyder Cut, and that's going to be coming in a couple of days, as well as hopefully Falcon and Winter Soldier Part 1. I'll see you guys for that. See you later, Ray, and see you later, everyone else. Take care. Goodbye.